And now SuperCoach Halfa, get your edge, get faster.
G'day SuperCoaches and welcome to the Aussie NFL SuperCoach Halfa. It's still a little weird saying that. I'm so used to being on the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show, but you know, every new season brings new things and it's a great new feel here. I'm Matty C, and generally you'd have Taylor with me, although you caught my draft doctrine last week. You'd have got plenty of me by myself. Big Tay will be back for next week's shows. We're going to start weekly straight away. We'll be in running backs, tight ends, wide receivers, whole preseason smorgasbord before we get into the classic SuperCoach preparation. And on a night like tonight, we're going to do a bit of a mock draft for those of you playing draft leagues. Looking forward to having Tay back too. That'll be fantastic. He's off caravanning up the coast with his family. I can't imagine spending 2 weeks in a box with that bloke. It'd be a bit of an experience. Ladies and gents, what I do have though is one of my very special mates in all factors of my life, but especially in my gridiron world. Those who've been around the network for a while will know this man. Those who've been around American football in this country will not have been able to avoid this man. He is my very special mate, Manjot, my commentary partner in crime from the American Football ACT. Mate, welcome back. It's a new feel here, but it is great to have you here.
Yes, thank you, Matty C. It's always great to be on the SuperCoach Half, as it's known now. Back in the day when I was with you boys a few seasons ago, it was the fantasy show, but now it's great to be on the new edition of the same show. It's been great seeing you boys continue on this show ever since I left a couple of years ago, and now you're into this SuperCoach world with how that came about last year as well when they announced that game. You boys were straight into that, and I'm glad to see you boys just continue with it. I'm really excited as well. I think this year, my SuperCoach brain has been going a little bit. Been doing pretty well in the
Yes.
AFL SuperCoach side of things myself, so I'm looking forward to the NFL version of it. With less injuries, I hope. Please, God.
Okay.
Don't get me started on AFL Supercoach. Like the injuries,
Oh my
I've had to
God.
ask Tay for prayers every week in our Supercoach chat. I'm like, Tay, what the hell do I do? Zach Butters went down last week. Like, oh man, I hope NFL season my Supercoach team does not die like that.
I've been seeing you and Tay having those discussions sometimes in the bigger group, so I can get a little look at that. But mate, I think maybe next year I might need you to be my coach for NFL, the AFL one. I've never done it before, and I'm not an AFL native, so I may need a bit of the
Yeah.
Manjot Melly sparkle there. But mate, look, ever since we worked together for 2 full years on this podcast when it was the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show, and mate, we couldn't keep you caged. You had things to do out there in Gridiron World, and we had to let you go and explore. But mate, you've been doing amazing things in the world of American football in Australia, played by Australians in both contact and flag, and then also just with regards to getting a footprint for Australians to engage with the NFL. I don't even know where to start talking about this, mate, but very recently we've been partners in crime on the American Football ACT. We were a part of the broadcast team that brought some of the games for the National Championship. Mate, I'm always very proud to work next to you on that. Just think you're the finest commentator in the land, mate. And, mate, we got to see a historic game. Victoria came up here on their way to that championship and they played a blinder.
Oh yeah, that was a crazy game to commentate. I mean, seeing 83 combined points is just crazy in itself, but 83 from one team was just another level. And there's a reason why they went on to win the national championship. They were just such a good team overall. And yeah, it was a crazy game just to commentate, even though it was a massive sort of blowout in terms of the scoreline. Just some of the plays that the Victorians were making were very good. So yeah, it's been ever since then. Haven't commentated a game, Matty C, let alone with you as well. So it's just like, yeah, that itch is still there, to be scratched at some point in the future, man. I've got to get back to this commentary thing. So I
We'll
can't
get that
wait.
band back together. That's going to
Yeah,
happen.
it's got to happen. Yeah. So, from what I've seen, it's about 40 days or less than 40 days until American Football ACT kicks off. So it'll be great to get back out there as well, interview some people for preseason like we did last year, and yeah, really get the show on the board, get the show rolling. I mean, we had that incredible Australia New Zealand game last weekend as well. which was just down to the wire. Like New Zealand just went crazy. I mean, if you want a full 30-minute recap, just watch that Good Day Ground episode we did
Yes.
last week as well, and read my article on Substack as well. So there's a few things we're putting out there, Matty C, for the local game as well. A bit more than we usually do, I would say, especially because I have a bit more time in my life now to be able to do those things. So I'm glad already, like everyone's very much talking up it, and I've got to thank everyone for the support, especially Good A Ground boys for bringing me on last week. Matty, of course, yourself as well. You've been awesome, just like to have in the commentary booth. And I can't wait to do it again with you at some point this season.
It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. Mate, you're right. Like, we're about to kick off another series of Aussie Gridiron today, which is very focused on things that are happening in Australia to do with Aussies playing American football here. Looking forward to that. We tend to get around our local, just in our local league and talk to some of the coaches and players, get a real bit of a setup for the season of what's going to be like down here, because, it's the one that we have the most contact with. But every 12 months, you're involved in all kinds of things across the island. The big one that happens too is you often get around to this one called Capture the Flag. Of course, in the next 2 years, flag football is actually a pathway to the Olympics at the moment, mate. And you've got your hands on that as well.
Yeah, the Olympics, I mean, it's coming up in 2028. So, yeah, it'd be a big time for Australia to get into American football, especially in the flag football world, but also tackle as well. And I think it's very important that we start building those sort of pathways for elite athletes to be able to represent our nation. I mean, Australia did come like first in Asia, Oceania in the men's, second in the women's last year in those championships. And it was very good to see us qualify for the World Cup that's about to happen as well. So yeah, it's a good time. I think that's in Dusseldorf next month. So yeah, good luck to all of them, flag players who are participating for our country as well. So it's a very good time just overall, just for the game to grow. And I think it's good that we're in on it. So yeah, capture the flag. One of my favorite highlights of the year, get to go out to some beautiful part of the country and be able to call a game like here or there is just like so good. Like just 2 straight days of calling games. I mean, Matty, you see me like die after calling like 2 games alone of tackle. I mean, just imagine 8 back-to-back flag games. I have to run in between, get off the booth, go down to the field, and like get the team sheets and everything. Oh man, yeah, it's just like it's a little crazy those days, but they're always so fun. The recovery though, Matty C, is always the hardest part, I would say. The like Sunday night, Monday afterwards when I'm watching NFL, I'm already like half dead. I have to get up for the NFL as well. Oh,
Yeah.
those are the hard days. But yeah, looking forward to it. Hopefully getting down there to the Barossa Valley this year. And one of the first Aussie Grind Today episodes, if you can call it, if you don't count the Good Day Ground one we did last week, our first official Aussie Grind Today episode will come out in the next couple of weeks. We're going to be interviewing one of the teams involved who's been announced in Capture the Flag, the Intercepticons from Adelaide. They're going to be promoting what's going on down there. That's such a cool name, isn't it,
That's
Matty?
a brilliant name.
Yeah.
Well, bravo.
Yeah, just an incredible name, the Intercepticons. I mean, I'm really looking forward. I'll have to ask where that name came from. That's definitely the first question I'm asking them. Is where do you come up with such a cool name as the Intercepticons, guys? So yeah, I'll be not intercepting them, but interviewing.
You'll be intercepting them, yeah.
Yeah, interviewing them, of course, in the next coming week or so. So you guys will see it on our YouTube and on our podcast feeds real soon. So they'll be promoting what's going on down there in Adelaide ahead of Capture the Flag, which they'll be participating in. So that's just one thing we're looking at. As you said, Matty, we're going around pre-season. We're talking to clubs again, and then get into the season for Aussie Grind Today, and then hopefully a bit more NFL content as well for myself this year. Now I have a bit more time up my sleeve, and I'm not doing like 50 other jobs on the side as well. So yeah, I'm really excited to get back into it. Oh yeah, the study was like 50 jobs, Matty C.
Oh my gosh, it was. I don't know how you were doing it. I always thought you needed at least maybe 3 assistants before, and now that you finished the study, I think you might actually need 4 or 5. So
Yeah.
that's how Manjot's doing, the busiest guy in American football here in Oz. Mate, we have got a mock draft in front of us tonight. I'm really excited to do this because, mate, we haven't sort of spent time together. It's just you and I as analysts for such a long time on fantasy stuff. We've done a lot of American football stuff. We've done some NFL stuff, and we've got the game in Melbourne that I haven't even talked about coming up. I can't wait to get down there. But for you, actually, just quickly, right, real diversion here is that, yeah, being a San Francisco fan,
Yeah.
you must be dying.
Oh, it is an absolute dream. I mean, man, where do I start? I mean, there's so many events to go to. Like, we got that invasion party that the 49ers fans like to do ahead of road games or anytime we have to travel overseas. So that's always a highlight. I'm looking forward to going down to one of the bars and taking it over as a 49ers fan. Joe Montana's coming. I'm going to go down and
Yeah.
see him as well. And of course, the game. What more can I say? Seeing my favorite team live for the first time, just going to be a great experience, Matty. I'm looking forward to it. It's something that I've been dreaming of since I was a kid to see the 49ers live, and to see them in Australia as my first live game is really cool. I can't wait, and against the Rams as well, a team. Of course, like on this podcast, always have been a hater. It's been very well known, since the early days when I was with you and Tate. I've hated the Rams, so it's good to have a division
100%.
rivalry. Yeah, they hate us, we hate them. It's a good division rivalry. I think that's the perfect way to have the first
It should
NFL
be.
game in Australia, just in an unbiased sense. I mean, even if it's Rams and Seahawks, even though I would hate both teams, I'd say that's a great deal for Australian fans compared to some of the other countries. They've been getting some shit games compared to us.
Oh
So
my gosh.
yeah.
What was it? They sent like a Giants and some other arse team, Panthers or something over
Yeah,
to
that was Munich or
Germany, was it,
something.
at one point? I'm like,
Yeah,
oh my gosh, those poor buggers. And they put on a game though. Like, God bless them, they put on a game. But I don't think anyone was super excited about the lineup. So we're really
yeah,
blessed to have such a great game here. And mate, I don't think 5 years ago, when I first met you, I don't think I could have said, hey mate, you and I are going to go to the first NFL game here in Australia together. And I can't wait. But to tell you that it was going to be a 49ers game, if I told you then, I think you'd have been like, nah, man, that'll never happen. Nah. So for it to be real, it's happening. It's happening like 6 weeks from today, Manjot.
yeah.
It's really close.
50 days away
And I
from the
can't wait to
season.
get down to Melbourne with you, Taylor, bunch of the guys from the network, and get out and meet some fans. So I'm
Yeah,
keen for that.
I'm very keen. Yeah, meet fans, other creators as well that we've talked to online as well. Yeah, so a lot of people
Yeah.
we've been talking to, and yeah, really get some content. I reckon go to get Matty. I think when we're down there, got to get some of the fans to ask me some trivia questions. I mean, you saw my performance last week on Good Day Ground. I need to be tested a little bit more, I
Mate,
reckon. Yeah.
yeah, that was all just swishes, mate. You were Steph Curry, just swish, swish. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see what the
Nothing but
fans
net,
can
mate.
ask me. Yeah, like, I mean, who knew that Brandon Lloyd led the league in receiving yards in 2010? Was he on your fantasy team back then, Matty C? Do you remember that season?
He wasn't on my fantasy team, but yeah, I was very aware of it.
You're very aware of it.
Very,
Okay.
very aware of it. I think that might have been a year where I had Eli Manning and Donovan McNabb as my sort of quarterbacks because I'd waited on quarterback. So I was then nickel and diming it with those two, and then all of a sudden Bryant Westbrook went down, and McNabb had to just use the short passing game as an extension of the running game because they didn't really have a running game then. But then he also started running, so I was killing there. And for whatever reason, there was this tight end on the Giants called Kevin Boss, who just Eli was
Oh,
focused
yes.
on, and he was. I don't know. He finished a tight end one over the last 6 weeks or something like that. So all of a
Yeah.
sudden, I felt pretty good. But I got eventually eliminated on my run to try and make a late playoff spot by a Brandon Lloyd game. So
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
that
Yeah.
that still hurts actually. So, yeah,
That
it's
has
only
to
been
be.
16 years, but it still hurts, mate.
There we go. Yeah. So hopefully some of the fans can just ask me some random questions like that. So yeah, it'd be pretty good. What we can do with fans. If any fans are listening and they're going to the game, we'll see if we can get you guys involved with some content as well. Be pretty good. Can't wait for it all, Matty.
It's going to be legendary, absolutely legendary. Bring of legendary things, Manjot. We have not done a you and I mock draft in so long. The name of today's show is actually the Matty and Manjot Draft Mania. That's what I called it. So that's what all of the
Yeah.
social media around this is going to be called today. And we're in a really lucky position. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to share our draft screen, because in the draft today, we've got, I'm drafting at 3. Manjot, I see you've picked your spot. You're in at 5.
Yeah,
Looking
that
good there.
Manjot in the
What's the
middle.
drive? Manjot in the middle. Okay, go. I've got Ian from the network too. He's our host of the undefeated G'day Gridiron. He's in at 7. And I did see earlier, I thought Kev might have snuck into 9, but do you know what's happened? He's gone the other way around at 10, sorry. He's now moved himself into 1st. This is commish extraordinaire, the croc hunter, Kev Patterson.
Hey, did you just see who just dropped in? Like, just in that millisecond there. Tay at number 2.
It's happened.
Tay
Oh
is
my
in
goodness.
2. Oh shit, Matty
Here we
C.
go.
Like, oh man,
Oh
like
my
this
gosh.
was a real chill one until Kev and Tay moved themselves to the front. Like, holy shit, Matty C. This is really, really crazy. Just last minute development. This is not even scripted. Like, I'm in shock, Matty C.
Unbelievable.
I was not expecting him in this mock, but shout out Tay when he's listening to this. It's always great to have him on the mock as well. The OG free
That's
here
mad.
with the fantasy show, of course. Like us free OGs. It's always great, and Ian as well and Kev. 2 great fantasy minds themselves. It's gonna be fun. This is gonna be great mock draft, and I've got 3 of you picking ahead of me now. Wow, and Ian's got me ahead of him.
God, this is going to be a bit of a mess, because you got Kev and Tay picking before me, and then me picking before them the other way. Immediately, we've kicked it off, and I've got Bijan Robinson goes number 1, and then Jameer Gibbs goes number 2. This is why I picked 3, Manjot. I wanted to see what would happen in terms of, do the running backs go first, and then in an experts draft, would that make any difference? And it leaves me with what I don't think is a decision at all. I think really, if you're not taking one of those 3, and by the 3 I'm saying Jamar Chase, who I'm going to take, then you got to probably have a really good reason why, and I feel like that's pretty fair and simple to take Jamar Chase. Puka goes 4, and now you're on the clock, mate.
Yeah, I mean, Robinson and Gibbs, they're definitely the 1 and 2, I would say, and they're definitely guys I would have up there in that 1 and 2. I think, for me, controversially as well, I did have this discussion in the fantasy chat as well today before recording, so might give away what I'm about to do here, Matty C. But I made the argument that because, as Tay always says, you always got to project health when you're doing rankings and you're doing your mocks in the preseason. I've got to. I argued like I would even think about taking CMC at the 1st slot, and just because of what he did last season, I mean, if the 49ers just keep feeding him, like even if we bring back Deebo Samuel as it's been rumored recently, like CMC is still going to get fed, and I think that's where here, Matty C, at the 5, I've got to take CMC here. I mean, it's my boy. I've got to go with him. I think it's just a perfect start for me to really plant my flag on that CMC is still in contention for that 101 if he's healthy, of course.
Yeah. Well, one thing I learned through the preseason in my draft doctrine too that came out on Substack and as a podcast in the last week was that where San Francisco are strong is in run blocking, and where they are weaker is in pass blocking. But that really gives an outlet to CMC to score both ways like they did last year. So to me, you can take him anywhere in the top 4 running back. I have him 4th only because I believe in the volume of Jonathan Taylor behind a top 5 offensive rushing line, and Taylor goes very next pick. Then Jackson Smith and Jigba goes to Ian. I don't think there's much controversy about him being a top 3 wide receiver. James Cook goes as the 5th running back. Now, I moved him up my rankings this week to 6, but I've been a bit down on him. In the interim, both major sites have also moved him up to 5, so I'm a bit behind the ball on that. I thought it was a bit faster moving than others on that, but it seems not. CeeDee Lamb and Amon-Ra wrap out the round before Kenneth Walker is the first pick of the second round. JJ, Justin Jefferson, and then Drake London goes to the Cook owner before we see Ian with Jackson Smith and Jigba in his pocket back on the clock. Anything controversial in there for you?
Yeah, I was going to touch on Cook as well, like you did. I was about to jump in there on James Cook because I did a few mocks today just in the lead up, just so I could have a feel for what the board is like right now at the day of recording. So I was pretty high on Cook myself as well, especially if CMC didn't drop to me. I was considering taking Cook over Taylor, honestly, after that great season that he had. So yeah, James Cook, I'm pretty happy with him being at running back 5. I think a lot of my draft strategy this year is going to be taking running back in the first round. I think I'm going to do that a lot this year. I'm pretty happy with loading up on the running backs first. And seeing this receiver run is my pick now. We have Nico Collins having gone just to Ian as well. So that takes away another receiving option I'd potentially thought of. And the receiving options here, bit murky, I would say. So this gives me a chance to really think about what I'm about to do. And I think with how the Eagles have sort of been going up and down throughout the last couple of years, where they have a Super Bowl year followed by just scraping the playoffs, then Super Bowl year, scraping the playoffs. I think he can bet on a bounce back, and especially with the new offensive coordinator in Mike McDaniel as well. Got Saquon Barkley. I think you got to look into him. So I'm going to take Saquon Barkley and double up on the running backs here, Matty Seeds top.
I just can't imagine how fortunate you would have to have felt in any previous year to be like, I can get McCaffrey and Barkley in back-to-back rounds in the middle of a 10-team draft. So it kind of goes to show you how the market's eased up on Barkley. He's still behind a top 6 offensive rushing line, and we know that the passing volume's been a little suppressed there, and that Jalen Hurts does bag a bunch of those touchdowns. But I feel like I need to believe in Barkley until I see otherwise. Devon Achane, who we know is going to be pretty much the one big valuable piece in the Dolphins, goes next. And that puts me in a position where there's actually been quite a few running backs go, and I'm here sitting with Jamar Chase. So I'm looking down the list of other running backs in this range who are guys like Chase Brown and Murray Hampton, Josh Jacobs, Javonte Williams. I kind of feel like one of them is probably going to be there on my way back, and I'll be happy with either of them. So this is a great chance for me to pick up another banging wide receiver. And years ago, Taylor used to be moister than an oyster for this guy. I am these days. I'm going to go ahead and pick up Chris Olave. We saw that the Saints actually have a terrible offensive line for run blocking, but they are number 1 in pass blocking. So I'm going to go and pick up Chris Olave. He had 140 targets last year. Looks for about the same. Amarian Hampton then goes to Tay, who's got Jahmyr Gibbs. So 2 guys in powder blue. And our last pick of the round is going to go to Kev, who's got Bijan Robinson in his pocket. He goes and takes Breece Hall.
Yeah, wow.
Kind of post-funk sleeper. I kind of like Breece Hall this year.
And he goes on to take Trey McBride straight after. So you see, Matty, I talked about doubling up running backs. Talked about taking running back first round. That was my main sort of move. I think that is something that right there, like it's really showing that even Tay and Kev have decided to double up, and you and Ian gone the other way, doubled up on receivers. So it's really interesting to see how this draft has really started, like how we're all reading the board, and I think this is a good showing of how different people go about different things. Do I have to make a quick correction, Matty? See, Eagles offensive coordinator Sean Mannion, who used to be a quarterback back in the day, but now he's the OC. So do need to make that correction. It wasn't Mike McDaniel. Apologies there.
Oh, good. No, he's in the Chargers fans now. Yeah.
Yes. I got it wrong. It's been a long time since I've been in the NFL room, so my brain is kind of a little bit catching up. Yeah. So we see you, Matty C, taking Kyron Williams. Explain that one.
Now, I reached down the board a little for him. I've got him as my running back 5 because the Rams have only the best rushing offensive line, and they've got one of the better passing offensive lines. Kyron Williams projects to still get the lion's share of the goal line and the lion's share of the early down work. I'm still a big believer in him. We've seen a second tight end go to as Brock Bowers goes to team 4. I just want to quickly shout back out to Tay with Rashee Rice. He's always been pretty big on Rashee Rice, and he is pretty sure that Mahomes is going to need to use speed near the line of scrimmage. So there's a lot to like about that pick there. Puts you on the clock, Manjot. You're one of 4 teams who doubled down on running backs. Team 1 had Hall and Robinson. Team 2, Gibbs and Hampton. You've got Barkley and McCaffrey. And, of course, right after you, Taylor and Genty go to Team 6. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I'm thinking receiver here. Gotta go for receiver. I don't think there's going to be much question about that. I'm going to go with George Pickens. I think George Pickens in Dallas, he is obviously the number two to CD on paper, but I think it's more of a 1A, 1B sort of situation, or at least getting closer to that than a true one and a two. So I think, yeah, George Pickens, I like the look of him to start this season. I think having done a few mocks today, getting myself familiar with the mock drafting process again, and it's the first time I was really doing mocks. To be fair, Matty C, in preparation for recording today, I think it was really more my strategy was formed around getting running backs earlier, and then sort of getting receivers in the mid round. I mean, for long time listeners, Matty C, you know what my sort of bread and butter
You
sort
had
of
a formula.
yeah, the
Yeah.
balance. Yeah, the free and free. So free running backs, free receivers in that first 7 rounds. Of course, giving myself room there if I want to get an elite quarterback or tight end to really go for that. So we'll see. We'll see if I can get to that free and free sort of split, Manny C. But yeah, I'm hoping so. As we see a quarterback go right there. That's what I'm talking about with Allen going to Ian here. I'm thinking, Matty C, like that's the sort of reason why I give that variance of the extra round.
Yeah, and I mean, there is never a bad time to have a guy who you think is going to be the number one quarterback on your team, especially considering last year the guy threw up almost 600 rushing yards and 14 rushing touchdowns. He would have finished second in the NFL for rushing touchdowns if he was a running back. Plus, he had 2,700 passing yards and 25 passing touchdowns. So Josh Allen looking great for a pick there to go with these two wide receivers. We see Jacobs and Jeremiah Love, the rookie over at the Arizona Cardinals, go before Malik Neighbors rounds out the round. On the way back, doing the Manjot balanced approach, Derrick Henry goes to Team 10. He's got 2 of each. And Team 9 does the same, goes and picks up Javonte Williams. He's now got 2 of each. Travis Etienne, who's moved to the New Orleans Saints, goes to Team 8. The 3 running backs and a wide receiver before. Ian goes and picks up the 3rd tight end, goes and picks up Tyler Warren. And then AJ Brown goes to Team 6. Does any of those moves there, Manjot, stand out to you or change what you're doing?
Oh well, I've got to really think about Ian because he's gone just zero RB. That is a zero RB draft from him. No running backs in the first 4 rounds, so I know
It's bold.
he's going to be really looking for some value with some of the rookies. I wouldn't be surprised if we got someone like Jadarian Price later on. So that's just a bold call for later on. Look, Matty C, I've got a bunch of guys I like here. So 2 running backs, a receiver. I talked about it being free and free in the first 7 rounds because there's always room for quarterback, elite quarterback I was talking about after my last pick. There is one right here. He's my boy, Lamar Jackson. I have to go for him, Matty C. And when I was doing some mocks today, I was like, wow, I can really get Lamar in the 4th round and really try and build around that in these sort of 10-team drafts. I mean, usually I play like 12-team or 16-team or 14-team. So I do play a little bit more higher sort of teams than 10-team usually, but in this sort of 10-team draft, I'm like, oh, I can definitely get Lamar in the 4th round and get away with it a bit more. So that's why I was looking at it like all day when forming my strategy for tonight's draft. And yeah, I think Lamar, I'm really happy with this pick, Matty C, of course. He's my boy. McCaffrey's my boy. Like Saquon Barkley is also my boy. He's a great player himself. And George Pickens.
You
Always
hate
been,
the Eagles. Stop it.
yeah, I hate the Eagles, but I don't hate Saquon. He's a great player, man.
How can you hate him?
You
How
can't
can
hate
you hate him?
Saquon. He's a good dude. I've loved him since Penn State days. He's been awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, where he was just looked like a young Miles Sanders. T. Higgins goes to Team 4, and then I'm on the clock with Jamar Chase, Chris Olave, and Kyron Williams. I like to take as little risk as possible in my first 3 rounds, and I feel like feeling the way I do about Kyron Williams does not feel like a risk to me, and feeling the way I do about Olave and Chase, with between them they're going to have 300 targets, also does not feel like a risk. This is the rounds where I can start having a couple of shots. I love Scatterboo. I think he's going to perform really admirably this year. He had 16 points per game last year on a half-season sample, so good enough sample size to show me he's involved. And I think Harbaugh and Nagy will bring a little bit more stability to the way that that offense works than we've seen in the past. So if he can he can do those sorts of things with the chaos that was there. I feel more stable about him this year. Tedero McMillan and Ibuka go to finish the round. And Kev, to kick off the fifth round, goes and picks up a second tight end because Colson Loveland was there, and he's a Bears fan. So he's got Bijan, Breesall, McBride, Ibuka, and Loveland. What a five-pack. Woo! And then Tay goes and picks up Devontae Smith to go with this two-pack of wide receivers, Tet McMillan and Rashee Rice. His running backs are Gibbs and Hampton. Any surprises there, mate, while I peruse the board?
Two tight ends in the first 5 rounds. I don't know if Kev meant that one there, Matty C. I will have to message him about that just to ask if he meant that. But yeah, two tight ends in the first 5 rounds, really interesting. I think with Tay as well, getting McMillan and Devontae Smith, the two guys I was looking at in this sort of range as well. I was pretty much out on Smith because I already got Saquon though, to be fair. So I don't think I don't think I can really get that sort of double up as I did a few times last year, and it kind of did cost me. You can't have the ball going to two players on the same play, as we always like to talk about. Too many mouths to feed. So yeah, I think Devontae Smith is a great pick though. Like I would have taken him had I not had Saquon. Like definitely, if he fell to me, I would have thought about it. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, what is Kev saying about that, Matty C? We got any explanation?
I'll have to check in with him in a minute. I was sort of using the opportunity to peruse the board for myself. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take Quinshon Judkins here. He's not the sexiest pick, and that Cleveland offense is going to be like a work site. There's not going to be a lot of flash and bang, but Judkins is projected to get 300 touches, and he will be the most likely portion of it going into any red zone and goal line situations they've got. So I've gone and picked him up. Luther Burden has just shot to popularity. He goes to team 4. All of a sudden, we've got some Bears going on there. Now, Manjot, you've got McCaffrey, you've got Barkley, you've got Jackson. They're your boys. You also go and found yourself Pickens, who we think is a 1A, 1B, more than a 2 on his team. What do you do here with your fifth rounder, mate?
Yeah, it's going to be extra risky sort of thing. Yeah, it feels like a risky sort of time. Yeah, I think there's one that's really staring at me that I haven't really thought about like all day. And I think I'm going to go ahead and stack that bitch up and get Zay Flowers. Let's go. I like that Jackson and Zay stack. I think this year I was looking at just looking really quickly off site, just at some of the numbers Zay Flowers had put up last year, and really, yeah, I think Zay and Lamar got a bit going last year before Lamar's injuries, and even when he came back as well, like just looking at some of the numbers, like. I would say, like, even at the end of the season, like, Zay Flowers, he was dropping, like, 20 points every couple weeks and that sort of thing. So, yeah, he's really good in the fantasy playoffs, and I would have to go with him here. I think that's a pretty good start.
I like the Zay Flowers pick where you've got Jackson. I think he's got more value when you're also getting the touchdown the other way as well, because he can be a bit streaky. So, Jackson giving you a bit of a base helps. Yeah. I've got some quotes from Kev to come in a minute, but it goes Garrett Wilson to team 6. Travion Henderson is Ian's first running back. Well, not bad for a first running back in the 5th round. Bucky Irving, Lad McConkey, and Jameson Williams wrap out the 5th round. Kick off the 6th. Devontae Adams and Jalen Waddle go to kick off the round, and then our third quarterback off the board is Drake May, going to team 8. It brings Ian back up. I just need to go to the press secretary for Kev, at BK Commish AU. His pick here is, you can't stop the love train rolling into the tight end station. Toot toot, I'm so severely effing sleep deprived. That's from the mouth of our commissioner. And Tay said straight after, look, I was 100% taking Loveland if you didn't. I left him behind because I assume you wouldn't take him with McBride in your lineup. How silly I was. so there you go. And Kev was saying he had to pivot anyway because he really wanted Titty Mac or Ibuka. So when he was removed from having one of them, he goes and picks up Ibuka, but then he feels like he has to take Loveland. So that was it. Those two sniping each other.
Yeah, that's really interesting, Matty. So it's just a really interesting sort of conversation. So yeah, I mean, those two always love keeping us entertained out there. Yeah, it's absolutely great. Yeah, it's now my pick. I mean, Ian's taken David Montgomery down there in Houston now, which is a really interesting one with Henderson and Montgomery as his two running backs. I think really interesting start for him. Daniels went before me. I didn't need a quarterback, so it didn't really matter. This one, oh, it's really tough, I would say, in terms of who I can trust and who I cannot. So I don't think I really have too many guys at this stage of my draft process because I haven't done too many mock drafts, to be fair, compared to a couple years ago. Got like 10 seconds, so I'm going to really think about it. Gonna go Romo Dunze here. I'm backing him in. Yeah, I'm backing him in here, Matty C, for a good season with Caleb. I think like DJ Moore's still on the board. If I didn't have McCaffrey, Matty C, honestly, I was taking Mike Evans here. Like that's a pure honesty. Like I did so many mock drafts today where I didn't get McCaffrey, but then I got Evans around this sixth round, seventh round sort of range as well. So yeah, Evans was most likely to pick if it wasn't for McCaffrey. So there's a couple receivers like Smith and Evans who are really dependent on my running back situation.
Yeah, and I'd sort of seen as it was running away from me last round. I'm like, oh gee, if there isn't a ton of wide receivers go, I could still be staring at guys like McLaurin, Waddle, Adams, Mike Evans, those kind of guys on the way back. So that's kind of the other thing that led me to Judkins over a wide receiver there. Almost all of those guys have gone now, though, so it just about bit me. But I'm going to stay with the wide receiver. But instead of taking Mike Evans, I'm going to do something that Taylor will endorse. I'm going to go and take Carnell Tate.
My boy.
Um,
Yeah, sorry, Matty.
yeah,
I was,
and he's not
yeah.
my boy. But this is that thing of, he's going to be my third receiver. And I like the idea of just kind of getting on the ground floor where you can see a guy's really skilled and talented. And he should get the volume. Even in a bad NFL team, I don't care. This is fantasy, and I just feel like the maths for him.
Yeah, and I love Cornell Tate. I mean, I've been watching him since college. I've been really high on him. Like, I don't know. Me and Kev were talking about him like before like this time last, I think around this time last year, I sort of started to really take notice a bit more of Connell Tate and became a massive fan of his and started following him
Yeah,
and like just everything, just trying to find like any sort of clips of him and everything. So I've been a massive fan of him since about this time last year, and I'm really excited for his prospects in the NFL. I think he's gonna have those sort of rookie bumps. So I'm not it's not
yeah,
really me hating on Connell Tate sort of thing for redraft. I think dynasty, if all my dynasty leagues didn't collapse at this point or haven't drafted yet, I haven't heard too much about my dynasty leagues. But in dynasty, I'm obviously looking at Connell Tate where I can. I mean, he's just an awesome receiver. I was very high on him, and in a team where he had Jeremiah Smith as well also in that team. I mean, just incredible, Matty C. Like he stood out there, and he was the first receiver taken this year in the draft. So yeah, I'm massive Connell Tate. I could go on all day, but keep going with the draft, Matty C.
he's looking good, isn't he? Taylor does the most Taylor thing in this preseason. Takes Darian Price. He's a big fan of him early in the season. DJ Moore, the former Bear, and then Caleb Williams, the current Bear. Lots of Bear love going on for Kev. I swear he is a Bear maniac. And then Tay has been talking this up, not because he's a Titans fan, but he really does think this is the last year you can get anything out of the Tony Pollard apple because there are suddenly other weapons in that offense. So I like his thinking there. I'm not bold enough to take him, but I mean, we are in the 7th round at this point, so if you're going to start taking swings, I think this is a time where you can start taking a little swing. But for me, this is kind of more the time where I want the last solid guys who I'd ever feel comfortable starting and some of my onesies. I've been staring down the Joe Burrow experience. I'm not going to do it. I thought that'd be a nice way to double stack up, but I'm going to go and take Mike Evans now. I feel like that's the right time to take him, and I probably don't need another wide receiver at this point. I can just bank my wide receivers. Bayshell Tutin at the Jags goes immediately after me, and it brings you up, Manjot, with your team looking like McCaffrey, Barkley, Pickens, Jackson, Flowers, and Odunze. Where are you going, brother?
Yeah, it's an interesting one here, Matty C, because yeah, like you said, these mid-rounders, it's really like you gotta choose who you go with, and there's a lot of risk involved, I think, and really with someone. Admittedly, I think I could have done a few more mocks leading into this, but I've done about 10. So I don't know if 10 is under preparedness or over preparedness, Matty C, but I didn't really feel comfortable with a lot of the guys in this sort of range, I think. So yeah, it's a lot of gambles, there's a lot of risks. There's not really guys that stick out to me as the guy to take in this spot to win me a league. That's what I'm just really thinking. There's a lot of boom or bust potential. I think one of the players that I really like for their boom or bust potential this year is RJ Harvey. Really depends on his situation out there in Denver. I know J.K. Dobbins was stopping him last season. Now RJ Harvey, he had a massive end to the year as well. When he really got the carries, I mean, I was just looking at the stats. He was getting 20 points per game pretty consistently when he started getting all the carries in the offense. So after their bye week, like last year, he finally got the carries going. And apart from Green Bay, who stopped him, like no one else could stop him until week 18 when we don't play fantasy. So yeah, he was really decent. I would have to say last year, 20th overall as well. So yeah, hats off to RJ Harvey. I think that's why I had to go with him in this spot.
I mean, and it kind of opened up beautifully for him. And then Denver kind of got in a good zone, so it was a good thing. Brian Thomas Jr. goes immediately after you. Then Sam Laporta is the second tight end for Ian. He loves middling tight ends. He'll tell you that. Christian Watson is the first of the Green Bay faithful to go since we saw Jacobs go as a running back to the same team, 8. Harold Fannin is the 6th tight end off the board. And then Jalen Hurts wraps out the round. DeAndre Swift on the way back the other direction before Joe Burrow, who I looked long and hard at earlier. And Tucker Kraft brings Ian back up on the clock. His team looks like this. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Nico Collins, Josh Allen, then Tyler Warren, 2 running backs in a row from rounds 5 and 6, Travion Henderson and David Montgomery. He goes and picks up a second tight end, Sam Laporta. Now goes and gets a lovely rookie wide receiver as his third choice there, Jordan Tyson, the very enticing new rookie at New Orleans. I tried a bit of wordplay there, didn't quite come off. I'm not in preseason. I'm in preseason. I'm not in mid-season form yet.
Not
and then
mid-season,
DK Metcalf is the 4th receiver for Team 6. And it's funny to think you can just go and get DK Metcalf in the 8th round. How mightily he has fallen off.
Oh, he's fallen off very much, Matty C. Yeah, it's a really interesting spot, I reckon. Yeah, for here now, again, not really a lot of guys I like, and not really a lot of dudes that I have had a lot of investment in. It's tough, Matty, because I mean, like with the sort of doubling up of teams, I'm sort of like throwing me off as well in these sort of middle rounds. I didn't expect myself to get 3 running backs because now I'm just looking at it. It's just like, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with my running back situation. So I'm gonna look at receiver. I'm gonna take a chance on Marvin Harrison. I think this season, I think he's a guy I'm gonna take a chance on in a few leagues, and he really has fallen off over the years. Like he started off as a really hyped up rookie, and he did finish top 30 that year, but then he fell off last year. Finished wide receiver 49 in PPR. He wasn't really that good. He lost a lot. He started dropping the ball too much, and he started he just lost his way as a player. So yeah, I think I'm banking on his bounce back. I know the Cardinals QB situation's so murky that fucking Jacoby Brissett is holding out. Like, God, how far is the franchise got to fall for Jacoby fucking Brissett to hold out on your team now? You see, but
Holding him ransom. Oh my God.
that's
They'll
how
bring up Sam Bradford next and be like, mate, are you still available?
Have to get Matt Leinart at this point. The way they're going,
Oh my God.
you want to go that far back?
You're a hardcore Trekkie. Listen to you. Goodness, Matt Leinart. How about that?
God, he
USC
could
Trojan,
been,
wasn't he? I think I saw his name up in that stadium.
yeah, he could have been something if he worked out.
He could have been.
He was a Heisman winner and just didn't pan out in the NFL. Just one of those weird sort of 2000s Heisman winners that just didn't make it the transition to the league after a
Yeah.
lot of college hype. Yeah,
Couldn't make the jump. It was sort of weird. Straight after your pick of Marvin Harrison, and I think you're getting him in the 8th round. The only way is up for him. He certainly can't be worse than that. Justin Herbert goes to Team 4. I knew immediately I was taking Chuba Hubbard. Their Panthers are actually an excellent offensive line for running this year. Cole Monagai goes to Taylor after me, and then Mackay Lemon to Kev before he swings around and takes Blake Corum, which, if you ask Kev any time in the last 3 years, he might have got more than 4 carries in a game and was going to take over Corum Williams, and it just has not happened. Tay loves doing this. He is jumping on the back of your RJ Harvey by taking J.K. Dobbins. So we'll see how much gas Dobbins has got in the tank, Manjot, because the only thing I think that Dobbins can really do is to just destabilize Harvey owners.
yeah,
And I just don't know what to do with it, so I've been staying away.
yeah. That is a good point. And looking back at it, I probably would have preferred more of Chuba Hubbard or Monongai, to be honest, myself. So, yeah, I do regret it a little bit, Matty C, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
This is why
it's
you
a
mock.
very risky. It's a very risky area of mock drafts and everything. So yeah,
But this
you've
is why
gone
you
ahead
mock,
and
right?
taken
You leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, you leave here. You don't keep your team. If you draft the best team you've ever seen or the worst team you've ever seen, you hit refresh, it's gone, right? So this is why you mock, is that it's okay to make mistakes, and even if you have a great team, all it does is serve to be a research tool. I go and take Jackson Dart is my pick here. I talked him up quite a fair bit in my quarterbacks column and also in the draft day doctrine. Go and find that on Substack and here on the podcast feed. Michael Wilson, who had a great finish to the year last year with Jacoby Brissett, goes immediately after me, and now you're back, Manjot. What are you doing?
Yeah, that second lane of points, as you like to talk about, Matty C, with the quarterbacks. Yeah, that's really nice. I like that from you. Yeah, see,
Thank you, mate.
Tay's really stacked up as well. 6 running backs, 3 receivers as well. And Kev,
6 running backs.
yeah, that's just insane. I think that's just what I feel about running back as well. I do not blame him at all. Look, it's the 9th round here. I don't know. Like, it's a real spot where anything could happen. I think this is a good spot to take Kyle Pitts, though. I think as a tight end. I think taking him in the 9th round. I think it's a tough one, Matty. See, I know what you're
He's
gonna
on my
say.
list. I love him.
Yeah, it's just like I was very interested to see how far he'd fall as well. I'm glad I waited that extra round and took Harrison because I think Pitts in the 9th is pretty damn good value. And
Yeah,
you know what's
I
even
love him.
funnier, Matty C, is seeing Ian take Cortland Sutton. I mean, if you watched GG last week, I don't know if you caught that yet, Matty C, but man, I was thinking about Cortland Sutton when I was talking like during the Marvin Harrison pick about doubling up of running backs. I was hinting at Cortland Sutton after that segment, man. I was just like, I've just been thinking about it. Yeah.
I am probably the greatest Cortland Sutton lover anyone has ever met, by the way, too. I just apologise for him every year. And this year in the 9th round just seems ridiculous. That Parker Washington and Cortland Sutton are going in the same area. You can get Alec Pierce. And to me, that's just crazy. I love both of them, but I'm kind of wide receiver out, otherwise it'd be in there. I love Kyle Pitts too. Sorry, man. I'm going to just take 2 seconds off your clock here to say Kyle Pitts ended up with 100 targets last year. I know he got most of his points from really a lot of them from one outing and then a big chunk of the remainder from a second. But to me, the targets are there, and I trust targets. It's not always about how the points arrive. It's about having access to them, and Kyle Pitts, I still believe, does.
Yeah, that's fair enough, definitely. And I was thinking of Alec Pierce here, and then pivoting to probably like a George Kittle or even a Travis Kelce later on, like sort of what Tay is planning. I mean, you and Tay have waited like a long time for tight end. I think that's probably the right way to go for me this year as well. I'm one that's gonna wait quite a bit. Look, I've got limited time. I'm gonna go ahead and quickly take Michael Pittman. He did get traded to Pittsburgh during the offseason. Didn't really want anyone from Pittsburgh in my offense. I don't think they're really high end offense, but I think Pittman can offer a second sort of guy for DK. I think he has a little higher upside in terms of his yards after catch and that sort of thing compared to DK these days. Yeah, that's why I lean towards Pittman. Like he did start off the year pretty well as well, um, during last season. But yeah, it's a very interesting situation with Rodgers. It's his last season, so they're probably gonna throw it like a million times a game compared to usual. So look, I don't think Pittman's the worst pick here, but I think in hindsight, I probably wanted to go Alec Pierce, but I leaned towards Kyle Pitts because I saw him dropping off. So I think usually I would probably have taken Alec Pierce if Kyle Pitts wasn't there, and I would have probably gone to like a George Kittle here. So yeah, really interesting sort of draft strategy. That's just what I've been working with in my mock draft so far, Matty. Is really waiting on tight end because yeah, I think there's a lot of value later on. Like you can still get Kelsey and Kittle around here. Like damn man, like the tight ends have really fallen off.
I'm in no hurry either. Guys who went after your pick too were fellas like Jalen Warren and Ramondre Stevenson before Alec Pierce and Jacoby Myers are at the top of the next round. Rico Dowdle, who's now moved to Pittsburgh as well. Chris Godwin, who's still around. Jordan Addison down in the 10th round. Mark Andrews goes next in to Team 6. And then your pick of Michael Pittman, who... And to me, DK and Michael Pittman, gee, I'd almost always prefer Michael Pittman over DK if DK's going a little higher because I just expect that they'll have very similar volume and that Pittman's cheaper. Pearsall, I just don't know what to expect out of anyone who's not Mike Evans in that passing game. I took Aaron Jones because, to me, to get a starting running back here in the 11th round, even though I don't expect a heap out of Aaron Jones, he'll be handy, potentially, if he does start to show a little, that I could potentially trade him, turn him into something else, or if I suffer an injury. Quinton Johnston, huge, goes to Tay. I think this is Tay backing the Mike McDaniel experience and getting a bit more out of Justin Herbert in the LA Chargers because we've seen his offenses when they're at their best just really be exponents of the deep ball and short area quick passes, layout passes. So I think that will be what he's banking on there. Romeo Doubs at New England is going to be weird to see to start, but Kev's gone and taken him to finish out the 10th round, and he'll kick off the 11th round in a minute. Anything controversial in that round, Manjot?
Yeah, I like the Quinton Johnston pick. I mean,
Me too.
he started and ended the season like a house on fire, but just in the middle he fell off like hard. So I actually really don't mind that one there from Tay. I'm a fan of that one. Yeah, I like that Quinton Johnston pick quite a lot. And then yeah, Kev going Romeo Dobbs. I don't mind a bit of New England. I think AJ Brown was a guy I did avoid earlier on, so I'm just not 100% sure if he was the guy. So that's why I avoided him when I took Pickens in the 3rd round. Just wasn't entirely sure about that situation myself. And yeah, Romeo Dobbs, a really interesting one there to end the round as well, man.
Well, and now we're in this weird position too where everyone's got a quarterback now as Tay's going to take in Trevor Lawrence as the second pick in the round. He's the last team who did not have a quarterback. And there's still a few of us who don't have a tight end. Team 10, then Taylor and I at picks 2 and 3. Rashad White also goes to kick off the round as well. I've got 30 seconds to make a pick. And, I'm actually in a bit of a position where I don't have anyone who jumps off the board at me. I know there's some good tight ends here. I'm not desperate for tight end. And then for me to just be stacking up more running backs and more wide receivers, having already got my quarterback, I think this would generally be a position where I'd be happy to take Wan'Dale Robinson, but because I've already got Carnell Tate, it's not nearly as much value. So to me, it's between Jaden Reed and Josh Downs. I'm just going to go and take Josh Downs. The difference here is I know that Indianapolis's offensive line is not terribly good for pass protection, but it is a damn sight better than Green Bay's. And Jaden Reed he's all about speed and distance. And I just don't feel like he gets those opportunities the same way that Josh Downs will. Dan Jones also quite mobile. He can extend the play to try and help make sure that Downs gets down the field. Prescott goes as a second quarterback to Team 4, who I was also thinking about as a second quarterback, but I don't need to in a mock. And that puts you on the clock, mate.
Yeah, Josh Downs was going to be the pick here for me, I reckon. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was he was the only one that was really jumping out at me, to be honest, as a pick. And
so you were rooting for me to take Jaden Reed?
yeah, I was hoping so, Matty. See,
take the Packer, Matty.
Yeah, the other guy you did mention that is very interesting, Wandale Robinson. I think
Yeah.
that's who my pivot was really here because he did have a few spike scores at the end of the season. And we did talk about with Carnell Tate, just how Carnell could benefit from this offense and how it could go. So I think I'm going to take the chance on Wandale Robinson here at the back half of the draft. I think just, yeah, it's a really risky one, just Tennessee. And traditionally, they're not a passing team at all. I mean, when you look back at the Titans and previous Oilers history, all you think about is running backs like Earl Campbell in the 70s and then Eddie George in like the early
That guy.
2000s and yeah, Derrick Henry obviously most recently, Chris Johnson, CJ2K, very sad.
CJ2K.
Yeah, very sad to hear what happened to him recently as well. I mean, they've had so many great running backs over the years, the Titans. I mean, where the hell is Tay when I'm talking up the Titans, man? Like, I'll go through Titans history, naming like every running back they've had, like ever, and he's not
Can you
here to
stop
even hear
doing that?
about it.
Because I'm sitting in front of a Jags flag, and here you are talking all the Titans' great running backs like I don't know. Like I haven't seen Derrick Henry throw 7 Jags into the stands on his 99-yard run that I've seen 30,000 times.
Yeah,
Titans' freaking running backs and Peyton Manning have been nightmare fuel for me in the last 20
oh,
years.
yeah, man. Oh, yeah. That's definitely gonna hurt. And JJ Watt, if you want to add a Texan in as well, Matty C. Oh goodness,
Just
yeah. I
uh,
mean, Matthew Golden, by the way, for Ian, that was the other guy I was thinking about. I was like, where is he on the draft board? I was sort of wondering if he had
yeah,
been taken at this point. So when you talk about Jaden Reed, I'd rather have Matthew Golden, to be honest.
yep, yeah. I mean, I just worry about Golden's. You want to project health, of course, as you said it from the top with McCaffrey, but I'm still just nervous about Golden, and I'm nervous about that offensive line. So it was Ferguson, then Golden, a bunch of tight ends, Kincaid, Gadsden, Kittle, Henry, and then Brock Purdy here in the 12th round. Then Kenny Gainwell and Zach Charbonnet. Kenny Gainwell, new change of scenery in Tampa Bay. Zach Charbonnet will be coming back from a pretty tough late year injury. And then Jaden Reed goes right before Manjot. And you're on the clock again now, mate. And it's you've had this flurry of wide receivers. You started with McCaffrey and Barkley, engine room of your running backs. You've got RJ Harvey, and then it's all receivers outside of
Yeah.
your tight end and quarterback. What direction you go here? Knowing you've probably got 2 rounds before it's into the defense and kicker.
Yeah, I reckon I've got to go running back sort of now, sort of a now or never sort of situation. This is a guy that gained a lot of hype towards the end of last preseason. And I remember sitting at the end of the drafts I never got a piece of him last year. Go
Oh,
Bill Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, Bill Krosky Merritt. Yeah, Bill, he's a real good player, I think, but he was obviously a rookie, so it's hard sometimes with the rookies. You don't know if they're exactly going to pan out, and you don't exactly know their role and that sort of thing. So yeah, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, I think, is a guy at this stage in the draft, like last year was 8th round sometimes, Matty C, and I just couldn't do it. I had my marks done and I was just like, it's too late for me to really move on the hype, I would say. And I think I made the right decision in the end, considering how much he did flop towards the middle of the year. But looking at some of the stats, like there were some spike games. So we'll see if they have some more consistency there, Washington. Be interesting.
nervous about it. I'm nervous about it because they're running. They're going for the running game. Their offensive line is not so good. They hold up well for the pass, and I just think it'll then be Jaden Daniels will be the core of everything that happens on the ground there. He's projected for almost 700 yards. Travis Kelce went right after you. I took Tyler Algier as a bit of a flyer at running back. Then Jaden Higgins at the Texans goes to Tay before Isaiah Pacheco for Kev. He goes and takes Casey Concepcion, the wide receiver, the rookie wide receiver at Cleveland. Brings Tay back on the board. And I'm foreshadowing now. I'm going to go and take a second quarterback for shits and gigs here because I just can't believe that this is still available. But Jalen McMillan is a very Taylor pick to go right before me. And I'm just going to go and pick up Patrick Mahomes to make sure no one else takes him because if he was available in a 10-team league, and I know that there's going to be a lot to go right for him before he's going to be anything like he ever used to be in fantasy. I've taken a real upside shot with Jackson Dart, and I believe that he will have rushing value. He had over 500 yards and 9 touchdowns in 9 starts last year. I believe he will clear both those benchmarks, even though that's what he's projected for this year. And if he doesn't pan out, where he attacks the world like Scatterboo does, who I've also got, then Mahomes is an adequate pivot once the season's worn in a little bit.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a real interesting sort of situation now because another quarterback I thought you might have been talking about as well. Bo Nix is a real interesting one late on. Yeah, he's I wouldn't take him here just because I need team balance, I would say, just for the balancing sort of reason. So yeah, I'm out on Knicks, but I would say if I had to wait this long for a quarterback, potentially yeah, Bo Nix would be someone that I consider. Now, yeah, it's a really interesting spot because everyone's really sort of gone with the running backs and everything like that. I think for me, I'm sort of looking into the running backs a bit more. Then there's a couple of receivers that do pop out. I think along that sort of KC line, I think Xavier Worthy might be a guy that I think of taking a flyer on a little bit more this season. He did have that slow sort of start to the year, but I think there is definitely a high upside when you're playing Patrick Mahomes. You're playing in the Andy Reid offense. I mean, the Chiefs can only really go up with the talent they have. And I know they've added in as well Kenneth Walker, but I think there's like a lot of upside for the other guys. And I think Xavier Worthy, where he's at, could be a potential breakout candidate, Matty C. Has I don't know if he has that sort of potential, but it's year 3 for him. This is where, the rookie contract is now or never for the 5th-year option. I think for a guy like him, this could be something worth looking at, a gamble worth taking on someone like this in this stage of the draft.
Yeah, guys, like he's one of those players too who can give you not a lot, or he can give you a cracking big game because you'll take a screen to the house or something like that. So kind of like Xavier Worthy's boom and bust there. That his boom's boom. Matty Stafford and Rashid Shaheed go. Bo Nix, of course, later in the round before Brian Robinson and Jared Goff wrap out the 13th round. We head into the 14th. It's Jordan Mason, Stephon Diggs, who's currently teamless, Jalen Coker, who I like quite a bit as a very late round fling, and Alvin Kamara. Woody Marks goes right before you. I'll read down Ian's team while you're having a quick think. He's got Jackson Smith and Jigba, Nico Collins, Josh Allen, Tyler Warren, Trey Vion Henderson, David Montgomery, Sam Laporta, Jordan Tyson, Cortland Sutton, Jordan Addison, Matt Golden, Zach Charbonnet, Rashid Shaheed, Alvin Kamara. He'll be taking kicker and defense next. Mate, you're on the board. Once we've got your pick in, I'll read down your team too.
Yeah, it's an interesting sort of spot again, I think. And yeah, it's my last pick before the kicker defenseless section. So it's really sort of the time to look at the Flyers again, like I've been talking about. I think, Marty, there's a guy here that I'm sort of intrigued by, I think, in terms of running backs. I think I need just one more just to shore up my sort of team. I think this is the sort of spot where I'm just not really sure how much game time he'll have. Gonna go with one of your Jaguars, Chris Rodriguez. I think, yeah, I was just looking at the stats just really quickly as well. Had a few decent games at the end of last season, and it's like he's not really. I'm not really sure with him and Tootin where to go. I think that's something that is really considering where he's at. I think it's not really something I've thought about. I mean, he played in Washington last season as well to consider where his situation was, but he still got to 500 yards on about 4.4 yards per carry. So, and he did have 6 touchdowns as well. So this is from someone who only had 112 carries over the whole season. I think Rodriguez is someone who could win the starting role at some potential point. But yeah, it's really interesting, Matty C. And funnily enough, Taylor took a kicker and Brandon Aubrey before a tight end. Like, just really shows how much he hates the tight end. He'll take on the last round. Just watch this. He'll take his defense before the tight end. Watch it here, Matty C.
He hates tight end.
Yeah, I'll definitely say he forgets his tight. I did that in a few drafts last year, actually, Matty C. I forgot tight end. I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to take my kicker defense beforehand. Taylor, I was trying to bet on it, man. Oh,
He
well,
did go and
Matty
get
C.
his tight
Read the
end in
team.
the end. He goes and gets himself a tight end. But I'll read these teams down because you went and got your Chris Rodriguez. And what I like about this pick, Manjot, is that what you do in the first 3 rounds is you go for certainty. The next 3 rounds, get the engine built. Then the next 3 or 4 rounds is time to get one of those onesies, maybe both. Go for fellas who can still you'd feel confident with as a flex, or who might be able to start in spot duty through buys. From round 10 on, it's the last year onesies, and draft trouble, draft upside, draft people who you think can just punch your opponent in the mouth. And this is what I like about your Rodriguez pick and your Worthy pick, is that both of them are like, Worthy could score you 4, he could score you 22. Chris Rodriguez, man, he is just one step away from Bashal Tutin not being the starter, and maybe Chris Rodriguez walking into a 15-touch role, right? So that's what I like about that pick, is that it's astute, because you're saying, look, these guys, some weeks they won't have value at all, but fuck me, there could be weeks where they do, and it might be the week I play you, and it's going to punch you in the mouth. And I just love that that's your approach, because, I mean, it fits what I've been talking about in the doctrine just perfectly, mate.
Yeah, I like that, man. See, I'm glad you look at it that way, because yeah, Rodriguez is, yeah, like you said, like he can potentially just win that role in training camp. That's the thing. I mean, we're not really sure. Training camp's only really just starting when we recorded this. I mean, the Niners started over the weekend, and then with the rookies, and then now all the veterans are going to report real soon for all the teams, and yeah, it's really something. That's what I'm really thinking, Matty C. Yeah, Rodriguez, he could be one of those guys that could break out. So it's still kind of early days, when mid-July, when we're doing this mock draft at the moment. Yeah, it's still kind of early days with the training camp sort of stuff, and us getting rumors and who's going to start where. So all of those rumors will start on later on. So a guy like Rodriguez, if you take him now, he could just just gain value overnight with one report. So it's really
100%.
interesting, I think, with
100%.
that approach.
Draft trouble. That's what I say. Your team has got some trouble. You've got McCaffrey, Barkley, and Pickens as your real safety first, and I like that. Lamar Jackson, you could definitely do worse as an early round quarterback than him, and you backed it up with Zay Flowers. Maybe some stacking it up there. And then Roma Dunze, RJ Harvey, and Marvin Harrison, and Kyle Pitts. And I think, any of them, I'd be happy to start pretty well any of them, especially some of them in spot duties. Like, do you feel confident starting Marvin Harrison every week? I don't know. But if you need to start him for a week or two while you covered an injury and a bye, probably. So I like that. And then Pittman and Wandale Robinson, Jakrowski Merritt, Xavier Worthy, Chris Rodriguez, all beautiful upside shots. You feel good about your team?
Yeah, I think it's a good team, really. Like, it's something I've been working on with my mock drafts, just really trying to fine tune it. I think, yeah, I really want to plant my flag with McCaffrey to start off. I think McCaffrey was a guy I really think could be the 101, and I think should be the 101, but everyone's just scared of the help. So I'd take him any chance I get, honestly. Like, I would take him at the 5 and be very happy with that, Matty C. And to get Saquon in the second round as well, like that's pretty good, especially if Sean Mannion can get them back in a role there for the Eagles offense. So I'm really hoping that's the case. I like George Pickens. I've been pretty high on him since that breakout season last year. And I think he'll live up to that hype, because Dak is a great thrower of the football. He's a guy that will get the ball to his receivers at any point. He was able to support Amari Cooper and CD when CD started. There's Michael Gallup even in there with the wide receiver too. George Pickens is pretty damn good for receiver too. So I'd have to, yeah, I wouldn't mind him as my receiver 1 in my team, which is pretty good. Lamar, I was always aiming for him if he was there in round 4. So I really trying to draft my strategy, hopefully around getting Lamar. If I don't get Lamar, wait on quarterback quite a bit, because I don't really like anyone unless Lamar Allen really falls there in the 4th round. I think that's sort of the strategy I'm looking at this year. think getting Flowers, like you said, Matty C, in isolation, I probably wouldn't have done it, but with Lamar, yes, I had a choice there to go for it. I definitely wanted him. Roma Dunze in the sixth round, banking the upside there for the Bears. RJ Harvey in the seventh. Look, this is one where I'm sort of on the fence, and probably my mind will probably change later in preseason as I sort of think about more. But yeah, I do like the risk, I think, with that one, especially with Dobbins. He has the injury history as well. So there is every chance that RJ Harvey can carve out that role. But there could be a few frustrating weeks for him. Marvin Harrison as well. He's sort of that sort of guy as well, where could frustrate you for a few weeks, but like you said, Matty earlier, could start and spot you. Carl Pitts in the ninth round, though. I was very happy to get him there. I think that's pretty good value for someone like Carl Pitts. I think he's a guy that I'm pretty excited with to be able to get in that sort of range. Michael Pittman and Wandale Robinson. I think are two receivers there that I like the upside of, especially with their offenses not being that hyped. I think you can find value in guys like that, where the offense, you're like, yeah, they were shit last year and they got shit offensive lines and shit quarterbacks and that sort of thing. Not saying that about both teams, I'm just saying that in general about offenses when you have less hype there. So I think Pittsburgh and Tennessee are two of the least hyped offenses coming into this season. But I think those guys can provide some decent value. Yeah, Ja'Cory Crosby Merritt, I'm pretty happy that I did take him. It's ironic I took his teammate Rodriguez as well, Matty C, to end it as well. It was kind of a funny one. His
They were
former
carrying the
teammate,
mail last year.
yeah, Rodriguez was probably an enemy there for the Krusty Merritt owners last year, which wasn't me, unfortunately, or fortunately in the end. But unfortunately, when I was drafting, I wanted him so bad. So look, I'll take him in the 12th, and in between Xavier Worthy. I mean, now or never for him. It's an upside play. He's probably if he
Very
does
well.
shit in like the first 3 weeks, I'd just cut him. Like that's really not something that I'm really that concerned about. So really just drafting a lot of that on upside, I would say, Matty. It
Perfectly.
feels like a weird sort of draft, like especially having done like a few mocks before this one, but especially now having thought about it a bit more. It's just yeah, drafting feels a bit weird with all the ADPs this year. To me, I think yeah, just some of the guys you expect are much lower than I expect, and there's some guys up there. I'm like, yeah, they're definitely worthy of being up there, but there's some good value in the later sort of mid later round.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
completely
can
agree.
really find.
Completely agree. And I think this is the exact message, and I think you've really um, you sort of embodied the message of in the late rounds. These are guys who they shouldn't survive your roster all season long. They either bang and they become part of maybe that top 8 part of your roster, or and they don't pan out, and you cycle them out for the next hotness. Because what's the point of hanging on to a guy who's got a safe 5 point floor? Like that doesn't actually help your team, and they can be on someone else's roster. Fuck them. You want to see that you are picking up somebody who's got either a path to a clear role, or somebody who just all of a sudden something changes in their offense, or they grow into a role that wasn't theirs to begin with, and now they're trouble, and they can either inflate your starting roster's value, give you a little bit of insulation, or help you trade to a better piece. And that's perfect, Manjot. Love it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, like guys like Puka in this rookie season and that come up in the waiver wire every
Yeah,
now and again. So you never know
there's a
what's
few
going.
every year.
You never know who is undrafted and will come through in the waiver wire. So yeah, that's why I'm glad you like that sort of approach there from me, Matty C, because that's sort of what I'm like. I'm not too attached to the guys like I took in the last 4 picks, that sort of thing. So if they don't pan out, I'm just gonna move on and go and take more waiver wire picks. I think that's what's been missing for me the last couple of years. I haven't taken, I've held on to guys too long, and I haven't really like benefited from the waiver wire as much as I should have because I usually like wait a little too long for guys on the waiver wire because I get a little too attached to guys I draft. So this year, sort of a bit more of an approach of going for the guys like that can have the high upside, but I'll just cut them. Like I'm not really attached to Chris Rodriguez, for example, Wandale Robinson. Like I'm not really too attached to them. So that's something I've definitely learned the last couple of years is not to get too attached to the guys you draft, especially in the later rounds, who don't pan.
100%, let him go. The other fellas who drafted in our experts rank were, including Taylor, I'm going to run down his team. He had Jameer Gibbs and Amarian Hampton in his first couple of rounds before pivoting to go and get a bunch of receivers. Check these guys out. Rashee Rice, Teroa McMillan from the Panthers, and Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith in the 5th round for the Eagles. I feel like that's a nice pick. He then goes and gets a solid 4-pack of running backs. Now, of these running backs, Kev fuming at both the running backs that got taken right before he picked toward the end of a round. First one was Amarian Price at the end of the second, and then Amarian Hampton, then Jadarian Price at the end of the 6th, headed towards Kev's pick, and then at the end of the 9th, headed towards Kev's pick. Tay goes and takes Coleman on guy and just drives Kev crazy. There was language I can't repeat, and I mean, I grew up in Queanbeyan. There's a lot of language I'm pretty comfortable with at the dinner table, but some of those things, like a rumba, that make you cry. And then he goes and picks up J.K. Dobbins at the bottom of that run, where he also had Pollard in there. So Price, Pollard, Monagongai, making up names, and J.K. Dobbins before he goes and picks up Quentin Johnson, Trevor Lawrence, and his upside shots at the end too included Jaden Higgins, Jalen McMillan, and Isaiah Likely wraps it all up as his tight end. Mate, he has had probably the most tailored draft I've ever seen. He's stuck exactly to the letter of the guys who he really likes. His upside shots are absolute upside shots. Jalen McMillan could be anything, and he's always loved him. Jaden Higgins is probably one of the 2 places you would go for any sort of passing value at the Texans if you trust any of it. Mate, they're guys who you can cut tomorrow, or they may turn up to be sparkly. It's a Taylor draft if ever I saw one.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys. I mean, like he loves Gibbs, he loves Hampton, he loves Rashee Rice and McMillan and Devontae Smith. Like, yeah, like you said, Matty, see, there's a lot of guys he just loves, and yeah,
his love list. The first 5 rounds were his love list.
Yeah, exactly. And
one of them is going to be his my guy this year. 100% one of them is going to be his my guy. Write this on his stone.
If I had to take a pick at who I'd think would be out of those 5, who would be the most likely to be my guy, I reckon he'd go Devontae Smith. I think out of all of those, I think he's good value there, Devontae, at the 5.2, so the 42nd pick overall in the second pick of the 5th round. I think that's a really good value there for Devontae Smith, especially as he's taking all the Philly passing work that AJ Brown leaves behind. Makai Lemon still needs to come into the offense as well, and Sean Mannion, he really is looking to build that passing attack as well. Like I was talking about that. If Devontae Smith dropped to me, unfortunately, this mock was not going to take him because I already had Saquon, but I think he would be a good pick in any other mock, and he is a guy that I'm looking at a lot as well. So if there was a my guy for him, or maybe it's my guy that's on his team, maybe. But if there was a guy I was thinking of, it would be Devontae.
Taylor's got your guy. And I like that. Taylor's team is quite solid. It's exactly who I think Taylor would have drafted if you'd asked me who he would take for some of these positions, even not knowing where he was going to draft. And I think the one who I think he would really like to claim as a my guy, who I think just where he's drafting him doesn't leave him enough room to grow higher than that, is Amarian Hampton. He's got him as about the 9th or 10th running back off the board. I just don't know there's a world where he could finish terribly much higher than that. But I like that Taylor's got the conviction to go, well, I think he's going to have an excellent season. I'm just going to go get him and make sure I've got a share of him. I'm not that bullish on him, but I like that Taylor's doing that. And he, say what you will about the guy, and I say a lot of horrible things about him behind his back and to his face, but when he has a feeling on a guy, he backs it up. He puts his money where his mouth is, and I love that about Tay. We don't have to agree on everybody, and I think that's good for the show as well.
Yeah, speaking of my guys, Matty, see, if you guys ever do that, the My Guy special, I think it was from 2024 again, like where you had everyone sending the voicemail for their My Guy. I remember that was the year with Jared Goff. Yeah, Jared Goff was in the dome, so I had Jared Goff.
That was your big call, and you nailed it.
Yeah, I nailed it. I had the whole thing. Like he only was outdoors 3 times in fantasy season. that year. I was like, yeah, fuck,
Yeah.
he's gonna have a good season. One of those 3 times he was out there was literally in the playoffs against the 49ers who were banged up and hurt, and he beat the shit out of us on Monday Night Football. But yeah, like there are calls out there, Matty C. So honestly, if you guys do that
Yeah.
again, I'll have to really go deep into research and not try and steal Devontae Smith from Tay, who I'm thinking will be his guy. But I don't know Matty C. But I think he is one of Taylor's my guys this year. So it'll be interesting once he hears this. He'll probably message me about it, and we'll confirm with him. But yeah, I think I'm pretty much onto that one there, Matty.
Yeah. We'll get Taylor's people to confirm or deny on that one. I'm going to read down Kev's save now too, because it is great to see Kev. I know he's been a busy guy, but this is where we actually can't get rid of him from now till about February. So he's had plenty going on outside the last fantasy season to now. But have a go. This is Kev's season 100%, and it starts with Bijan Robinson and Breece Hall. I actually really like Breece Hall this year. Trey McBride, who is essentially a wide receiver in tight end's clothing. He's a cheat code. You can start him as a tight end, even though he's going to end up with 1,000 yards and a dozen touchdowns. He's a beast. Emeka Egbuka has sneakily found himself in consensus rankings as about wide receiver 20. So, with the vacation of all those targets that go when you take Mike Evans out of that offense, and you're not sure exactly what Godwin's going to look like. Emeka Egbuka is a nice pick up there. Now, Colston Loveland, I've been a bit critical of people who are big on Colston Loveland. I think we had a nice month where we saw him do well toward the end of last season, but I just haven't seen enough of a sample size for me to believe that it's a season-long thing. And I'm happy to be wrong on it, but there's a lot of folks who are into it. Taylor's really into it, and I'm not surprised Kev is, because he's a Bear. DJ Moore, the former Bear, and then Caleb Williams, the current Bear. There's a lot of Bear to Bear there, mate.
Yeah, he loves his team, and I mean, when Lovely was drafted live, like, gosh, I was like wondering what was going on. I was scratching my head like I just did right there on camera as well. Yeah, like McBride and Loveland, third round, fifth round. I was like, oh, something must have gone on. I think Kev did make a little, like, I think he admitted like he did make a bit of a mistake and probably wouldn't actually do that in an actual draft, taking 2 tight ends in the first 5 rounds. I think he probably would have gone like someone like a Devontae Smith. Who knows, with his Bears love, he probably might have gone Luther Burden, like seeing as Team 4 got him like 3 picks after Loveland. So it could have been, it could have been something, or maybe he just loves his tight ends, Matty C. Who knows? So yeah, it's very interesting seeing Kevin Tay react in the chat when that was all going down. But yeah, I think Matty C, he loves his Bears. It's very prominent.
He does.
And you know what else he loves? He loves his young guys, his rookies, the upside sort of guys. So if you read down the rest of the list, there's a lot of great rookies as well, Matty.
There's a ton of them. And so in the chat that we've got sort of going on, that we're in while this draft's going on, and admittedly I find it hard to type with that sort of thing while I'm working on a broadcast of a draft. But reading down it too, Kev was like, oh, mate, you can't stop the love train rolling into the tight end station. Toot toot. And then talking about how sleep deprived he is. But I like that he's like, I'm going to defend my stance there. When really, the awkward reality is, if this is your team for the season, you are starting Trey McBride, but because you've invested a 5th round pick in a second tight end, that has to be your flex. That just has to be your flex. And if you're playing in a 2-flex league like the Sleeper Basic is, that's not a death sentence, but it will be if you're playing in a single flex league, because now all the other depth you took at the other positions are only for injury and buy cover. There's no upside in that, because you feel like you either have to start Colston Loveland or you've set your 5th round pick on fire, and that's a tough situation to be in.
Wait, so Matty C, just very quickly, did you say Sleeper Basic is now 2 flex? Is that right?
2 flex.
I was early on the movement. Very, very early on the movement. I was one of the very first proponents of 2 flex, Matty C. Any league I set up, I'd always argue for 2 flex. So I'm glad I was very early on the curve there as well. Just as an aside to this, I'm glad, Matty C. Like I was ahead of my time. I have to give myself a bit of credit with that.
You're an influencer, mate. The world listens to you. Okay, there's no surprise in that.
Yeah, I'm like.
I mean, I've seen your Instagram followers. You've got some real punch, mate.
Yeah, look, Matty C, yeah, it's definitely something like I've been campaigning on is two flex. I think get an extra guy out there and look like Colston Loveland being a flex potentially could be something for Kev if this is a natural draft and yeah
Well,
and
and he would
every
have to be. He would
yeah
have
he
to
would
be,
have
right? Because you can't bench McBride.
you can't yeah he might put Loveland in at the tight end and put McBride in the flex. You know how some people do it where you just have like yeah, you just have that sort of thing of his Thursday night game and that as well. But yeah, he definitely would be a flex. I do like how he took Makai Lemon and Casey Conception, the two rookie receivers. I think that's very Kev sort of play to be doing that sort
Million
of
percent.
yeah. Blake Corum's obviously a Kev guy. I mean, goddamn, we've
Yep.
had so many
RB1.
yeah. We had so many
RB1.
debates. So many
Yeah.
debates about Blake Corum be the RB1 of the Rams, and the rest of us say Kyron Williams, and Kev has just stuck with Blake Corum from day one. And look, I mean, he
Has
keeps
lost more water bets on Blake Corum than the Jags have lost games in the 25 years I've been a fan. Like, and that is a lot of losses, mate. He just keeps on betting on Blake Corum to do something. And I mean, he's a fine player, but yeah,
he's not running back.
the offense is built the way it's built.
Yeah,
It just is
yeah.
what it is. But I like that he's having a shot on him. And it's absolutely, these are guys who are definitely care picks, like Makai Lemon and Casey Conception. He loves his youngsters. He's in a million dynasties. He's in all sorts of depraved versions of those too, where I'm pretty sure some of these leagues he also has Devi guys where you're drafting guys who are still in college. He's a sick man, and I love him. Blake Corum, of course. But then Rashad White and Isaiah Pacheco, these are guys who are kind of retreads in that, yeah, Pacheco no longer is expected to be the number one in Kansas City. But it's not like Walker has been a picture of absolute health, and it's also not like we haven't seen the Chiefs run very happily with a timeshare backfield where we just saw Big Fat Kareem Hunt spending a lot of time as a second running back behind Pacheco. Pacheco gets hurt now. Big Fat Kareem Hunt has to take more of the load, but then they're still working guys like Brashard Smith and some of these other guys. So it's not like it's a set and sold thing that Kevin Walker, who goes in the first pick of the second round, is going to deliver all the value I think people are hoping. So I love the shrewdness of that pick. And then, of course, he wraps it up with Darnold and the Seahawks.
Yeah, just on Pacheco, you might be confusing the teams a bit because you're on the Lions now, but your analysis is correct though, because he can be
He's on the Lions now, yeah.
Yeah, he could be the new Montgomery. That's basically what you were saying, Matty C. But you just you forgot he moved.
It's the same build. Yeah, it's the same build.
He literally could be the
you're
same.
right. I missed on that.
Nah, don't worry. I got the Eagles offensive coordinator wrong like an hour ago now. So yeah, it's been one of those where you just lock in for the mock. So definitely don't, Matty C. Your analysis was absolutely correct on Pacheco. He could be high upside there, but like a Montgomery
100%.
type of upside. So yeah. Yeah,
well, and here's the question, right? If Montgomery hasn't moved from the Lions, where do we draft Montgomery?
Yeah,
not the 12th round.
Yeah, we drafted him, what, 8th round it was last season? It was pretty high up there. 8th round was...
So, if we're just taking probably a younger, more spry back to do the same role that we saw David Montgomery doing, it's just I think this is a very Kev kind of pick. It's just he's playing some chess while others around are playing a bit of checkers. I like Kev's team overall. I'm going to quickly read down my team too. I took two guys who I thought were just slam dunks in terms of targets. I expect they'll both get 140, 150 each. In Jamar Chase and Chris Olave. My third, who I thought is just a slam dunk, is Kyron Williams. That Rams offensive line is superb at both at rushing and both that they're good at giving Kyron the volume. He's had the 70% workload year on year. Cam Scatterboo is kind of the first of my let's just see what happened here, and Quinshon Judkins, but both are to me really solid points per game and volume plays. Quinshon Judkins, the only Cleveland Brown who's even within QE of the top 50 if you just ranked fantasy players from at the moment this year and how they're getting drafted from 1 to 700. Quinshon Judkins is the only Brown even near it, so I kind of like that he's going to be the spot where the volume goes. I don't usually take such a higher risk in the 6th round, but I kind of feel like Carnell Tate's the exception to rookie wide receivers. Kind of reminds me a little bit of, how you could just, when you saw a guy like, Amari Cooper come into the league, then you're like, well, that guy's just gonna work in the NFL. He's just gonna work. And I think you did a beautiful job of illustrating why you think that, and I completely agree with you. Mike Evans is kind of he's my guilty pleasure, Manjot. I don't care which team he plays for. If he's healthy and playing in the NFL, I want to slice of Mike Evans.
Oh.
He's the slant touchdown king. I'm cool with that.
Jump
He is a
ball.
big body down the field, jump ball. He leads the league in rebounding every year, mate, because he's like 6'7". He's amazing. And Chuba Hubbard behind that great Panthers offensive rushing line, and we expect them to be maybe not the sharpest passing offense still, but improved. But I do expect them to have another great year on the ground. Rico Dowdle is no longer there. I'm not terribly terrified about Jonathan Brooks. And Jackson Dart, I went into some great detail about in the draft doctrine and in my quarterbacks column. He is just trouble on two legs. In a 9-game sample size, he was on track to throw up sort of 800 yards of rushing and something like 13 touchdowns. Do I expect all that out of him? Well, no, but it shows that the baseline there is to throw up some trouble, and I took Mahomes later on to try and insulate that. Aaron Jones, Josh Downs, Tyler Algier, Tyron Tracy, all either upsides or to preserve something I already have with the Cam Scatterbo pick, and Brenton Strange. Why not? He was a top 5 wide receiver top 5 tight end a lot of last season. So why not indeed? That's my little team, and I feel relatively happy about it. I think the only thing I might change is that maybe I wouldn't have taken Carnell Tate so early on. I don't know if he ever would have got back to me, but he was the one risk.
Yeah, that's fair. And I like your team a lot. Like, I wanted Mike Evans, where I got a Doomsday beforehand, but I was just like, nah, I already have McCaffrey, so I can't really double up on my Niners a little too much there. So I do like that. I like the approach that you and Tay both took to taking the tight end very late, like in the last round. So I was a fan of that, and that's sort of more of where I'm going this year as well. There's a lot of good value at tight end to be had, and I think the guys like Kittle, Kelsey, Ferguson that I love, they're sort of in that 11, 12 round range as well. So I like what you've done, Matty C, with this team. I think it's a pretty good team overall, and I do like it. I think when you put it out to the poll this week and who has the best team and everything, I think this is a team that could get a lot of votes. I think this is a team that definitely could get a lot of votes. I think unless there's some sort of other factors or anything, I'd vote for it if my team wasn't up there, of course. But
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And mate, I don't often put up a team that gets a lot of public groundswell, but I feel like this one, I feel like I've done a pretty good job arguing my case for the players that I like this year. And I really brought out my own playbook and followed my own playbook here. And I don't know, I think you probably found this a little bit too when you're an analyst and you're talking about your fantasy strategy, you're talking about the players you love and the players you're not necessarily so keen on at the price and those sorts of things. It can be quite difficult once you get into leagues where the people you're playing against know all these things about you, to be able to execute a draft the way that you've advertised you want to, because there's then a lot of folks who get in there and disrupt. So it's this year, I think I definitely feel the most clarity around where I want to go and at what prices I'm really willing to just cut and let other people have, in a way that I think spending all the time on that doctrine article and the Substack that we've started this year at positions in the lead up has really helped that. So I'd really urge folks who haven't had a chance to read that document or grab that podcast. It's both on YouTube and Spotify for the video, but every other podcatcher if you want the audio version, and you can get the Substack article. Just Substack, search Aussie Gridiron Network. You won't just get that, you'll also get all the great things. My great guest, Manjot Melly, has been doing. The great Manjot Melly put together a wonderful document, which his article went into the great Aussie and NZ matchup from just last weekend. Cracker of a game. And he's also been down the rabbit holes of all the teams with previews for this season for the NFL. Those are going to be coming up pretty soon. He's also been talking a lot about the state of the game here in our country as well with the guys at G'day Gridiron. And, mate, we'll have a bit of Aussie gridiron ourselves when we bring Aussie gridiron today back in these next couple of weeks. So,
Yeah,
a lot happening for you, mate.
I know. Yeah, it's like I'm going straight from studying my degree to going into all this football stuff is so perfect timing. So, like Shador Sanders says with his song, perfect timing. So, yeah, just like Shador, it's some good timing here for me. So
Yeah.
hopefully some more content. Definitely try and get more into NFL stuff as well as the local stuff. So try and balance that sort of thing and see where it goes. But yeah, we've got quite a good way to go, and having done a podcast a week the last 2 weeks, it's been a good start to that sort of life now for the football life to start up again. So I'm pretty excited, Matty. See, there's way more to come. So I'm pretty excited to get my hands in the NFL sort of stuff as well.
I would be the first person, I think, to queue up to watch the Manjot Melly of Football Life, by the way. You're so young, you've accomplished quite a lot in terms of your contact with the sport in this country and helping grow it, but then all the great things you've done around NFL content and fantasy content. And mate, you've got a long way to go, and the sport is going to just absolutely benefit from having you involved. And I just feel really great to be on your team, mate. So thank you for all you do for us here at the network, and thanks for suffering me so much.
No, it's all good, Matty. See, I mean, it's not really suffering at all.
That is.
It's more of a pleasure. Like, just more. I'm more lucky to have you than any. There's no suffering, Matty. See,
you're also the sweetest man in American football in this country, mate. Listen to you.
No, Matty. See, I think you take that title. I think you definitely got that, Matty. See, you got that over me. Trust me, the players love talking to you more than they love talking to me. I think sometimes.
I can't believe that is just not true.
Oh, we might.
You can relate to them. You know their music. You know their slang. I'm like Unk.
You do have that Unk status, to be fair, Matty.
Football. Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
I can relate to the music and all of that. You are right.
Yeah, mate. You've got their culture. You've got. I don't even know what the hand movement was. I don't know what I'm doing, Manjot. You've got me flustered.
Oh, Matty, see, come on, man. Yeah, go get you educated, locked in on all this.
Oh my gosh, you can tell it's past my bedtime on a school night too. But Manjot, thank you so much for joining the Aussie SuperCoach love-in, as it's turned in the end, but the Aussie SuperCoach Halfa. It's our privilege to have you, and I'm looking forward to just spending a lot of time with you through both the NFL season, the Australian American football season, and mate, especially when I cross paths with you down in Melbourne. I'm even considering wearing some red. Do you think I should don a red jersey down there?
Oh, yeah, Matty. See, I have a lot of spare ones. It's like there's 10 in my closet right now. So there's always room if you need one. Yeah.
All right, what I might have to do then is, because we're very different sizes, is I'll bring my shoulder pads to fill it out a bit, mate. I haven't done arm day like you have lately. Yeah.
Yeah, Matty. See, look, it's all good. I mean, I'm really excited for the season coming up. A lot of good things coming up, and I'm just glad to be back in the football world again. It's just great, I mean, it's like my first taste of fantasy right now, and I can't wait to get into my actual drafts and everything. And hopefully, I can return to SuperCoach Halfa at some point as well. Talk
really
some
cool.
SuperCoach, and like I said at the start of the program, like I've been into AFL stuff. I've been scoring like top 6, top 4%, like in recent weeks before my team.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, team got derailed by injuries basically. So I've used up all my trades. Yeah, all my trades are gone, and I've got pray to the SuperCoach gods at this point. That my team doesn't has the band-aids and everything, and just done right. But yeah, look, I'm in good form for the SuperCoach Classic sort of thing. I think now that I know the level of research and depth I need to go into. So I think it's a good time, Matty C, for all of it. So I can't wait for the SuperCoach stuff. And look, I mean, I can come on during the season anytime now. So yeah, hopefully you guys have me back whenever you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We will have him back. He is at Pastry Press NFL. That's not just on Instagram, it's on Threads, it's everywhere. You can find him on Facebook as well. It is Manjot Melly, my wonderful guest. Thank you again, brother.
Yes, thank you everyone for listening. It's been great to get back here on the SuperCoach Halfa podcast.
Mate, it's a pleasure. We'll also have Big Tay Dogs back next week.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. We're going to talk a bunch of running back, and then we go weekly through all of August in the lead up to the opening days, and we get into the NFL SuperCoach Classic stuff as well. So cannot wait. Make sure you stick around with us. We're going to then start going 2 shows a week once the season kicks off as well, which is fantastic. In the meantime, we'll catch you all next week when I've got Taylor back. From Manjot, this is Matty C saying, hooroo, fellas.
And now SuperCoach Halfa, get your edge, get faster.